Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I'm going to be doing a foundation first impression. I'm going to be trying out the Milani Screen Queen Natural Finish foundation. So if you'd like to see my thoughts and a 10-hour wear test, please keep watching. So I've had this foundation for quite some time now and I've heard a lot of mixed reviews, not gonna lie, more negative than positive, but I wanted to try it myself because I feel like for the most part when everybody hates something, it always works for me, and then when everybody loves something, it never works for me. That's just, I don't know. But I went ahead and picked this up. I will say I ordered it online and I looked at the Milani website and the Ulta website. I purchased it from Ulta, but I feel like it was kind of hard to figure out my shade online. So if you're interested in this foundation, I would definitely go in store to pick it up because I thought I ordered a shade that would be perfect for a self tan, and you can see here it's my shade right now, and this is just my normal shade right now. I have like a slight little tan, but other than that I'm pretty light. Yeah, and this is in the shade 250 Natural Bisque. So like I said, this was very deceiving, but I figured I would just go ahead and talk about the packaging first. It's in a glass bottle. It does have a pump, so that's always great. And then it just says luminous natural skin finish, buildable light to medium coverage, long wear, digital blue light filter. So I guess it's supposed to protect your face from your phone or your computer or something like that. So as always, I'm going to prep my face for this foundation, and then while my primers sink into my skin, I'm going to read you guys some information. So I'm going to use two primers that I've been loving at the moment, and that is the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hydrating Hyaluronic Acid Primer. I love this. I didn't think I would, but I do. So I'm going to apply that. I always get my neck. And then for some extra hydration, I'm going in with the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Rose Primer Water. So I'm going to be reading from the Ulta website first. So this foundation comes in 45 shades, which is amazing. It has 4 out of 5 stars and it retails for $13.99. This says, break up with blue light. You're on the phone 24/7. Milani's not mad at you, but your skin might be because the blue light coming from your devices could be doing some serious damage. It says, level up your skin's digital defense with Milani Screen Queen Foundation. Okay, I didn't realize that this foundation was directed towards the blue light. When I heard Screen Queen, I thought it meant for like film or pictures. I didn't know that it was for like blue light. So I didn't know that. This says, created to give you a woke up like this, effortlessly perfected skin. This buildable light to medium coverage foundation blends seamlessly and blurs imperfections for an even luminous natural skin finish. Helps fight the signs of digital damage, dullness, discoloration, hyperpigmentation to keep your skin on point no matter how much screen time you clock. The benefits: weightless feel formula, instantly blurs imperfections, evens out skin tone, infused with digital blue light filter technology to help protect skin from digital pollution. Let's see. It's going to help strengthen skin's barrier, restore its capacity to overcome stress. Non-ashy formula, formulated for all skin types, tones, and ages. Cruelty-free and vegan. This says you can use a sponge or brush. Okay, so that's everything that Ulta says. So now I'm going to look at Milani's website. This retails for $13.99 on Milani as well. And it basically says the same thing that Ulta's website said, so I'm just gonna skip this. So as always, I'm gonna do one side with a sponge and one side with a brush. So let's see, I think I'll start off with 2 pumps first. Okay, actually I got 3. You can see it's really thick. So this is the shade. I think it's gonna be perfect, but like I said, I got this specifically to match a spray tan, and yeah, obviously not. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this. It doesn't look very full coverage like that. So I'm using my damp beauty blender. There is a slight fragrance, but it's not like overwhelming. I have a couple breakouts, so we're really gonna see if this covers or not. That's 3 pumps, you guys. I want to make sure with this light to medium coverage. Okay, but it did say buildable. That's definitely light coverage. It looks like it barely, 3 pumps. I feel like this looks more like a skin tint. It doesn't even look like a foundation to me. It just looks like a tinted moisturizer, if I'm being honest. 3 pumps barely gave me light coverage. So I'm gonna do 3 pumps again. I mean, I don't mind the shade, so that's good, but yeah, look, it's like thick, but it blends out to nothing. So maybe with a brush, I'll get a little bit more. I'm gonna use this really annoying brush that is broken, but it's so good. This is a Morphe Y7. It literally blends away to nothing. It's like when I go over an area that I already blended, it like wipes it off my face. Yikes. Let's try a little bit down here. I'm just gonna go ahead and do my neck over here with a brush. I currently have 6 pumps of this foundation on my face. And I wouldn't even call this a light coverage. Like, for real, it looks like a tinted moisturizer, except for over here. I feel like I got more even coverage, but over here with a brush, like I was telling you guys, every time I went over an area that I already kind of like buffed in with the brush, it kind of took it away. And I feel like I got more of like a luminous finish with a sponge and a more matte natural finish with a brush. So this is what my skin looks like up close. This is with the sponge, 3 pumps, and this is with a brush, 3 pumps. I think that if you had perfect skin and nothing to cover, you just wanted a tiny bit of coverage, you would really like this foundation, but and what's crazy is if you guys have seen any of my other foundation first impressions, like I'm all for light to medium coverage foundation as long as I could just use a full coverage concealer, but I do want more coverage than this. Like I want actual light coverage, and this was 6 pumps. Like that's insane. So I'm gonna do another 2 pumps. I'm gonna put this in the areas that I need it. So my nose, this pimple right here, chin, and my cheeks. It's just weird that it just blends away to nothing. And then I'm also weirded out that it has 4 out of 5 stars. I'm gonna use the brush this time and just kind of press in and see what happens. Okay, so if you lightly press in, you get more coverage. So I guess no buffing and no swirling, just press. Now I feel like I'm getting some coverage by doing this, but I mean, I mean, now I have all the time in the world because of COVID, but on a regular basis, I don't have all this time to sit here and just do this for my foundation when I have like other foundations, you know, that I can just be like with the sponge and be happy. Like, I don't want to sit here and do this and use 10 pumps of foundation just to get somewhere. It's crazy. I'm gonna go over a little bit with my sponge, see what happens. I feel like it's pulling the product off. Oh boy. Ew, and it looks really cakey on my nose. My forehead is all cakey and splotchy. It's breaking apart. My nose is breaking apart. Yikes, which I think if I remember, I did watch one foundation review of this and I feel like they said that happened to them too, where it just like broke up. It's happening to me as well, so maybe concealer can fix that, but I want to get back on Ulta real quick and just read some of these reviews. I just want to see what's really going on. Okay, so this review says the Screen Queen foundation is a light coverage foundation. It says it's buildable, but trying to add more makes a foundation smudge on your face and leave unflattering marks. 100% agree. This says, I'd say this is a perfect foundation for a fresh faced teen that is just starting to use makeup, which is the other thing I said. If you have perfect skin and you just want a little bit of something, this is perfect for you. Someone with no fine lines or wrinkles or blemishes. This says 4 stars. I've used with a brush and beauty sponge, works both ways. If you're looking for high coverage stuff, I would look somewhere else. But if you're looking for day-to-day look, this is one. One pump had a lot of coverage. It blends really well into my skin. Cool that it blocks blue light, but I don't like it. I've used other Milani foundations and I was really excited about this one, but this one gets really streaky. Agree with that. This says doesn't blend into skin, which is what I was having a problem with. Love this foundation. Nice finish. A little goes a long way. I feel... Have you guys ever seen like the videos of the celebrities reading the mean tweets? Like, that's how I feel about reading these reviews to you. Perfect lightweight foundation with excellent coverage. Yeah, on that note. Alright, so here's my skin up close. This is what we got. So I'm just gonna look up closer. And yeah, it is still breaking up. It looks like crap on my forehead. It's broken up and splotchy all right here. On my nose, like this, I just applied it, but this looks like foundation at the end of like a 20-hour day. You know, like when you've had foundation on all day and then you go look at yourself one last time before you take it off and it's like splotchy and just kind of like broken up. Like that's what this looks like, and I just applied it. And yeah, it looks kind of dry around here. It's weird because like on different parts of my face, it has a different finish. So right here, it looks kind of shiny, dewy. Here it looks matte, here it looks matte, but then here it looks a little shiny and dewy. So let's see if we can salvage this, shall we? I'm gonna go in with the Becca Under Eye Brightener first. I've been trying to use this every time I sit down to do my makeup because I forget how much I love it. So I like to put the majority of product right here and then I'll blend it out. This also works as a really good base for concealer because it's sticky. I do have a Milani concealer. I guess we can try that. I actually love the Milani concealers. This one's one of my favorites. It's the Conceal and Perfect Longwear Concealer. This is in the shade 105 Ivory Rose. And I do have another one. Let me see. I love this one as well. It's the Retouch and Erase Light Lifting Concealer. These two are so good. So I think I'm going to just use the... let's use this one, the Conceal and Perfect. This one has like a little bit of a pinky undertone. It's like a neutral pinky undertone, so I'm gonna apply this, and to me this concealer is pretty hydrating, so maybe it'll help these areas that look all dry and crusty. I'm gonna use this Morphe E45 to press it in. I feel like I always overdo it on the concealer. I can't help it, but then I always use my sponge after I blend it out with the brush, and then that just picks up all the additional product that I don't need, which I should just get in the habit of applying less, but it is what it is. And I'm gonna go ahead and bring this down pretty low because I'm trying to cover up that foundation mess. So I'm gonna go over it with my sponge. Maybe I should have used a sponge that didn't have this foundation on it, because I feel like it's just, yeah. It's literally picking the concealer up off my face. Yikes. What a mess. I'm gonna try to save it with the brush. We'll see. Oh gosh. Oh. The brush is kind of helping, but I feel like my forehead is a lost cause, and so is my nose. And right here. Ouch. All I keep thinking in my head is like, do I have to keep this on for 10 hours? So I've tried the Milani Conceal and Perfect Foundation as well, which is like super full coverage, like 2 pumps is in your entire face, full coverage. I think it's supposed to be a match with this concealer, but I like that foundation. I think it's perfect. The only thing I didn't like about that foundation was I feel like most of the foundation shades were like yellow undertone, and when I'm like this shade, I like more of like a neutral undertone. I don't know, maybe they came out with different shades that have different undertones now, but it's been a minute since I've used that foundation. But it reminded me a lot of the Too Faced Born This Way kind of tone-wise, because a lot of the Born This Way foundations have yellow undertones as well. This is my skin with the foundation and concealer. I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit of cream contour, my brows, and then I'll come right back and we will set my face with powder and see how that goes. But I'm gonna go ahead and do the call time. So it is 1:24, so we'll just make the call time 1:30. So I'm back. I used my Kylie Cosmetics bronzer stick in the shade Bronze Tan for some cream contour. Okay, this side looks great with the cream contour, no complaints. This side, however, is pretty blotchy, and I forgot, and I went back in with the sponge that had the foundation on it, and it pulled everything off my face. Like, no joke. So I had to go back in with a different brush and try to put that back on, because it took off the cream contour and the foundation and the concealer. It literally took off everything. So I went back and I tried to fix it as much as possible. It's still a little blotchy right here, but I feel like if I mess with it anymore, it's just going to be a disaster. So I'm just gonna leave it. And as for my nose, it's pretty much the same. It didn't really want to blend out on top of this foundation. Oh my gosh, it's just the only thing that looks decent is like right here where I did a little bit of cream contour in my lips, honestly, and then this cheek. But everywhere else I'm just kind of like, ouch, you know? For brows, I used my Anastasia Dip Brow in the shade Blonde. Then I went on top of that with my Essence Make Me Brow in Blondie Brows. This just gives my brows a little bit more volume. It makes them look a little bit more thicker. Then for my tails, I used my NYX Micro Brow Pencil in the shade Taupe. And then to carve out the bottom of my brows, this is really good and I feel like nobody talks about it. This is from Maybelline and it's the Brow Precise Perfecting Highlighter. It's basically just a kind of like cream concealer pen thing. So it's really good. So if you're looking for something like that, definitely check that out. I think that's everything that's on my face. I'm so nervous to set my face with powder because I feel like it's going to be a disaster. So let's go in with my tried and true Airspun powder. Usually this kind of helps save the day. So we're going to try this. Alright, so I'm just going to dip in here with my powder brush and set my face. I'm gonna set kind of underneath my eye too, like not directly underneath my eye, but the higher part of my cheekbone. Normally I skip setting spray unless I feel like I absolutely need it, but I think I'm going to have to do something because I feel like this foundation is going to need all the extra help it can get. Which is weird because I feel like the foundation looks decent on my cheeks after I went in with the foundation brush and kind of patted it. I feel like it looks okay. But the center of my face where I actually need coverage, I don't like at all. To set my forehead. Oh gosh. My forehead looks so bad. It's just gonna make it look worse. You know what? But thank goodness I have bangs. So, you know when companies put out foundations and there was a few people that agreed with me on how this was blotchy and how it didn't give any coverage. Like when a company designs a foundation, right? Who tests the product? Like I'm just curious. Like when they're like, okay, we're gonna make this foundation, this is what we want it to do, blah blah blah, we want it to be light to medium coverage, buildable, dewy, all of the above. Like who tests the product before it actually hits the shelves? Like that's what I'm curious about. And then do they just have one tester, two testers? Like do they test it on multiple people so they can get different opinions? Like I'm just curious. I feel like this looks really good. It looks nice and healthy and airbrushed, but literally all of this, I'm not digging it. But my cheeks look nice. My under eyes, I feel like that concealer did kind of save the day. All of this looks okay, but yeah, here not so good, here not so good, and there not so good. So just a quick close-up so you could see what the foundation looks like set with powder. As you could see, like this looks really nice, I feel like. but this, but my cheeks look good. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the rest of my makeup, and then I'll come back and let you guys know how everything went on, and I'll also tell you what products I used. So I'm back. I'm going to tell you guys everything that's on my face. For bronzer, I have the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, and this is just in the shade Bronzer. For blush, I have this Kylie Cosmetics blush, and this is in the shade Baddie on the block. For highlighter, I use this Flower Shimmer and Strobe Highlighting Palette, and I just used the pink shade there in the middle. Super blinding but beautiful. For eyes, I wanted something a little bit different instead of just putting like a nude or a white in my waterline, so I went in with MAC Minted Eye Kohl. It's just like this kind of bluish green shade. It's kind of like a forest green. For my lashes, I use the Voluminous Lash Paradise Primer from L'Oreal, and then I went on top of it with Urban Decay Lash Freak. This is really similar to the telescopic mascara, and then I wanted some extra like volume at the base of my lashes, so I went in with the Grande Cosmetics Grande Drama Intense Thickening Mascara with castor oil. And I basically just put that at the root of my lashes. And then for lips, I used this Kiko Everlasting Color Precision Lip Liner in the shade 420. And then for lipstick, I used the NYX Cosmetics Matte Velvet or Velvet Matte Lipstick. And this is in the shade Soft Femme. It's just a Kylie shade, but gorgeous. I love this shade of lipstick. So to set my face, I used my MAC Fix Plus, and then before this dries, I go on top of it with like an actual setting spray. So I just used the Morphe setting spray today, and then I just used my little handheld fan to dry them like together. So now that I'm done with everything, this is what my skin looks like. Let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna look up close and see if I fixed it. Yeah, my forehead still looks pretty cakey, but my skin does look better after I applied the rest of my products and then used the setting sprays. I feel like it did kind of help out this foundation, so I think I will be able to deal with this for the next 10 hours. We'll see. Hopefully, I don't know, because sometimes when I have like a little bit of dry spots from foundation, usually when my like natural oils like start to come through a little bit, it doesn't look as bad, so we'll see. So anyways, I'm gonna go throughout my day. I'll be back for my first check-in in about 4 hours, and I will let you guys know how it's holding up. Hey guys, so I'm back for my first check-in and I look a mess. I've been like organizing and doing stuff for Vlogmas today, so I haven't even gotten a chance to look up close, so I'm gonna do that right now. So I mentioned this before, but sometimes when my foundation is starting to look a little dry and cakey, when my natural oils start to come through, it kind of fixes it a little bit. So it did do that on my forehead. Like my forehead doesn't look as bad. But this does not look good. I didn't even notice that before, so that must be new. Like right above my lip looks all patchy and dry and gross. My nose still looks gross. My cheeks do look better, so I'll give it that. Oh, I didn't even realize that my mascara transferred underneath my eye, which is weird considering I use a waterproof mascara and I set my under eye, so that's... So yeah, forehead still looks gross. I'm telling you, my bangs save my butt like all the time. But other than that, it's not the worst foundation I've ever used by any means, but it's not the best either. Like so far, I wouldn't recommend getting it unless, how I was saying from the beginning, if you have like glass perfect skin and you just want like a little something, this would be good for you. One pump out the door. But I almost feel like, now that I think about it, I wonder if this foundation would go on better with fingers, and I'm not a finger foundation type of person. Like, it kind of grosses me out, but I wonder if applied with fingers, if it would actually look good, because when I used a brush and I went over the areas, it took it off, and then when I used a sponge, and it took the foundation off my face as well. But I don't feel like fingers would do that, so... I just realized I forgot to tell you what time it was too. So it is 6:10, so I've had this foundation on for about 4.5 hours, right? Yeah, about 4.5 hours-ish. So yeah, this is just a close-up. gonna go eat some dinner and then I'll be back with my 8-hour check-in. Hey guys, so I'm back. I'm actually back early, but it is 8:40. So I've had this foundation on for almost 8 hours, but I'm not going to keep it on the full 10 like I normally would because I hate it. Like, it's not like it's going to get any better. Unlike my other foundation first impressions, for the most part, like, a lot of them do work for me, so I like to see how long they last. Especially if you add a little bit of powder here and there, you can like prolong your foundation. But this one is just like a straight no-go for me, so I thought it would be cool if I go ahead and take it all off and then apply the foundation with my fingers, and we'll give it one more chance. I'm just gonna look up close again and see. There's really no difference. It looks the same except for right here is just so dry. Like, I don't understand. It didn't look like that from the beginning. My forehead still looks flaky, like right around here, but everywhere else still looks the same. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this off, and I'm gonna come back and we're gonna try applying it with my fingers and we'll see how that goes. All right, I'm back. So let's apply some primer. I'll just use the exact same primers that I used when I first started this video. So the ColourPop Pretty Fresh primer. I have this huge pimple right here. And then the Wet n Wild Rose. Okay, if this way doesn't work, then I give up. So I'm gonna apply it with my fingers, which is totally to me, but I wanna try it and see if it works. So I'm gonna do 3 pumps. I don't think I've ever applied foundation with my fingers, ever. So, here we go. Oh, this feels so wrong, but it actually seems to be working. Have I gone my whole life without putting on foundation right? Nobody mentioned in the reviews to try your fingers. Not one review said that. Oh my gosh. I feel like applying foundation with your fingers is a game changer. And this foundation is awful and it looks good. Well, I haven't looked up close yet, so. All right. We're about to see. And it still looks like crap. I definitely think it went on better with my fingers, but it's weird because when I look from a distance, it looks nice. But when I look up close, like, remember how I told you guys, like, in certain areas, like, the foundation just wouldn't stick to my skin? It's still doing that, just not as bad. So using a sponge and a brush totally did not work for me with this foundation unless I took the brush and like went like this, like how I did in the beginning. I feel like applying it with your fingers is the best way to go if you're trying to use up this foundation, because now I've already passed the date where I can return it. So I feel like if I'm gonna try to use it up, I'm gonna definitely have to use my fingers. But it's weird for it being a dewy luminous foundation, and you guys saw I used 2 primers. It's weird that it gets dry and like crusty in areas, and it did say it was natural finish, luminous natural finish. I almost think even if this was the only foundation I had to use, I think I would just not use foundation. But okay, so maybe I just need to mess with some primers, or maybe the foundation is just that bad, but I definitely think using your fingers is the way to go with this Milani Screen Queen foundation. I like how it looks with my fingers 10 million times more than with the sponge and the brush. So maybe with this and a full coverage concealer I'd be okay, like in these areas, but I still think the foundation looks bad right here. So those are the areas I need to cover. I don't really need to cover this part of my face. So I'm gonna go ahead and say skip on this foundation. I have dry to normal skin, and it's making places that aren't even dry, like look dry. So I definitely skipped on this foundation. Let me know if you guys have tried it though, what your skin type is in the comments below. I'm just curious if you got it to work for you. And if you did get it to work for you, let me know what primer you used as well, please. I hope you guys enjoyed this foundation first impression on the Milani Screen Queen foundation. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and please don't forget to give me a, I almost went like this, thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys later. Bye.